Hi guys, I am here to show you just the basics of painting, like value for armor, like for lighting, and how to make it look metal, basically like metallic, get a nice shine at the edge of the sun. But yeah, this is a value painting and probably won't have color in it until the very end. So this is it's probably not the way many people paint, but for me at least, I find it the easiest way. So at the moment I've got basic outlines here, and I've got a sun. The sun is just to show me where the artificial light would be. Like around here would be quite bright, and then here would be dark. That's pretty much what it's for, so I can work the shadows out based on that. I've got a layer of grey, like 50% grey, and the outline. I've made a new layer under the outline, which is what I'm painting the value on. So I've got my opacity set very low at 13, and I'm also using the default brush, or one of the defaults. I'm using slightly darker than my base color, which is just under 50% actually. So I use very darker, and this will be the base coat for the shadow. So the sun would be coming in, and this is on a curve. So you've got to say just kind of like this for a basic shadow. With the outline off, just like that. And I could use the gradient for this, but this works just as well. So now we have kind of a basic line. I can go in a little bit darker, now, and just separate like the plates out. This is probably one of the most important parts, like is to separate the plates, as you can imagine. This is mainly just this is where the shadow would be, like a very basic and harsh shadow. Come across. Like it's not gonna look very nice close up because it never does. I mean, if I zoom out, you can already kind of see where the shadow is. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the little like error message noise. That's just something wrong with my tablet. So that's one I just recommend you use. Like this is gonna be very hard on the mouse. From my experience anyway, it's harder than mouse. If you're used to painting with mouses, then I guess you'll be fine. But I don't know. I think it's easier to paint with a tablet. This is more of the same, just painting the shadows. Then you can see it's slowly becoming a lot nicer than just like a pure black outline. Now I'll probably just go quiet for a bit, as there's going to be more until I get to the next part. Like, as I'm painting in the basic lines, that's all you need to do is go over the same shade for now, paint in the dark tones, and then we work it from there. So yeah, you can follow along or just head off on your own, and I'll come back in when I change the different shades. So the next part will be like doing in the light areas, and then come back for more. Okay, so I'll see you guys in a sec. So that is the dark outlines done for now. So the next part is probably going to be bringing in some light contrasts around this part here. I think first in the tutorial I'm just going to focus on these two bits of shoulder pads, because the rest is more of the same for different materials. I might show a bit of like non-metal stuff to show you the difference between them. I'm going to set my second brush as a slightly lighter colour. This one can't be too light because it shows it more harshly than the one does. Now where the sun is, I just want to bring kind of light down. It won't be as prominent as the shadows are, but like what I'm going to do is I'm still going to blend them together at some point, so it's a nice gradual effect. Now you might not look like much at the moment, but I'm sure you can see where it's going to go. So let's bring a few in there, even though that probably wouldn't be too bright. Just for concept, it's okay. So as you can see, it just adds like a bit more of a tone to it. So you should be able to see where it's. You can see the 3D element now. Okay, so this needs to be a bit more brighter over here. So the sun's going to be hitting that directly, or close enough to directly anyway. Might be slightly bright on the tips here. I'm not sure how much though. And this would be quite bright too. So we'll wait it. So it shines a little bit more. Take a step back, which is always good to do when you're painting. Just hit it at quite a big angle, like, yeah. Because when you zoomed in, you can't tell what it looks like at all. It just looks like a bunch of messy, like, different shades of grey spotted everywhere, which isn't really what you want. So I think the light would probably come like more of a curve around there, so it blends in a bit more. I'll probably even go a tiny bit lighter actually. Just don't want to over exaggerate like the sunlight like this. So yeah, this bit here could be really bright because on the very edge kind of thing. Just so you know where it's coming. You don't want to go too crazy like bright though, not until the very last stage, which you might not even need to do, depending on how bright the metal is and how away your sun is. Bring some more into the edges here. Probably need much more. Make sure the tips are kind of like bright. Turn that shadow. So yeah, as you can see, it's getting there. There's still a bit missing from that. So let's tone it down a slight bit. It's probably not going to be the same shade, but sort of cover any of the dark areas that I left. There. Okay, so I'm missing a bit of it down there. I think this will be a lot darker than the other places. I'm still not too sure yet. It's a lot of trial and error really. That's probably why it's best to do on multiple layers, in case if you mess one thing up you start with back up. And you can't go too wrong too easily. Unless you go pure white or pure black, then it just looks a mess. So I'm just gonna go a bit more of the white. I'll probably head into my smudge tool now. I'm keeping it around like 50%. That should be default. So I can like smudge it together like this. So this isn't too harsh. The transition. So we go just like that. Probably do it up here as well. Bring the light in a bit. Just don't have too many dark grey parts left. You don't really tell that anything's like 100% white, 100% black. You want to keep it all in like a 10 to 90% region. There are some uses for 100%, which I will show you in a minute. So it's got the basic thing. Do it again, and you can see the blend. It's still a bit better. I think I need a bit more of a transition between the two. Let me just do a quick layer of it. Cool. Paint transition in. So let's slightly darker one there. Hope that it's still lighter than the other grey. So let's take that back. It's a bit harder to tell. I mean, there's a bit there he's fixing. Let's smudge that back in. Like that. Yeah, it's not amazing, but you get the idea. Like this stuff takes like hours to get looking really nice. I'm just kind of running through it for you guys. So I'll go back to my darker colour. Just re-go over some of the things I may have just smudged out. It was working. So stuff like this has been removed. A little bit there. Now I don't think realistically there'd be much of a shadow here, but for the purpose of this I think it looks quite nice to have kind of a harsh edge. It kind of goes from what I'm saying about, you know, keeping the sun up there and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes it would look nice. It looks nice, so yeah, let me have that one. Please come with a slow light one there. It's just trying to get the fade from dark to light nice. As it's metal, you don't want it to be just a sudden transition. And that may work, because what you tend to do is once you do the base coat, you go over the colour. I'm not like on soft light or hard light most of the time for me, but it changes depending on how dark or light the actual paint is. So turn that off for a sec. You can see there's some parts still need doing, because lines can sometimes block your view. Well, most of the time they block your view. So just come around, fix that there. We have a bit of a dark spin on this bit here. Just like that. Down here starting to get quite a bit darker. Because this is like, there's no sun pretty much hitting this. There might be a reflection from the other part of this armor, which will be on the other side. But I haven't drawn that in, so we can't really include that. Paint these on to keep up with the other side. You can kind of see where it's going, like how it looks and how it will look and stuff. I don't think this here would be that dark, especially this bit coming up. So I'm probably going to give it kind of like a light tint. Might be odd. I think a light tint would work. I think that's just a standard grey colour. It was. So the light tint would probably run the edges here. There'd be some kind of reflection like bouncing off. It's just a nice contrast from the pure grey and black lines that are on the side. Something like that. Kind of falls in this form still. But it has like a nice, something you can't really tell, but it's there just in case. So what would I'd probably do next? I'd probably go through and smudge these bits out. Like just these bits here. Have it blend in a bit more. I think it's still a bit harsh of transition. Like, sorry, it's still a bit harsh, but Yeah, it's not too bad now. Need to bring this dark a bit, just coming in a bit more. So nice gentle fade in. So like that, you can work out where the shadows and light will be coming from fairly easily. And what I normally do is I want to make it like it's been curved, so I get a bit darker up onto the edge, still staying off the pure black, but getting extremely clear still. Okay, so increase the brush size a little bit to just go kind of around the dark patches here, or where I think the darkness would be the most. So this is where it would be coming to kind of join the neck. I think it'd be fairly dark in the neck. I also think these will be very dark. This is like extremely close, like kind of like that. You can see it a little bit, not too much again. That's kind of the key, is not going too harsh with it. So if we just knock the opacity down quite a significantly again, still comes through quite a bit, but it leaves you a little bit of room to get things wrong. So if it goes too dark, you can stop yourself before you get too crazy. There you go, like that. So once it starts to slope down, you can go back to smudgement and just keep it from being a too harsh line, because unless it's a chip in the metal, there's not going to be a really harsh line. I just want it to slowly fade in and out. So similar to that, it's still a little bit dark and harsh, but again, some things you can just get away with quite easily. So now, again, this probably won't make a lot of sense for realism, realistically. I'm just going to bring in a kind of a light edge, just to give it a transition, because it looks quite flat at the moment. There's a chance right there, bring that down. This is one you can really see though, but it's just nice to be able to have it. Maybe even give like just a one up like that. It's a great transition between the two. Now this obviously is not going to be a lengthy tutorial, because I can do them another time. This is just extremely basic. Like, the basics to value painting, let's say. So it's coming down the side. Slightly more. This is more or less where we can get the harsher tones in. So let's say it's like a really big shine on some of the arm parts. So I'd say just to get the curve looking nice here, you can go in and add a hint of really pure white, like 100% white to it. It doesn't look like it adds much, but with it on little bits over here and there, you can make it look really nice. It just takes a lot of time. I'll probably do it down here a bit. This kind of focuses the light in. Just something similar to that. There we go. Maybe just here, put a little bit fainter. Basic line there. It's not something you can tell too easily. If I change the black background color, just change it to like black or something. Or maybe not black, maybe like a two-tone. Dark do. You can see like from that, probably a little bit darker. It just makes it stand out. You make it stand out against the curve. In fact, sometimes it's actually easier to work with just this kind of color. So I basically just go in and keep on adding and taking away. So there's another place you'd see like the shine would be on the wrong color. Okay, probably see like up in the top. Kind of like that. Maybe even have like, okay, maybe not there. Okay. Just going around the top here. That's kind of it's a bit too harsh. Do something like that. Doesn't add a lot. Yeah, it just has that slight metallic feel to it, I guess, like reflective surface. Probably the same here. I just quite a thin line, just going up the curve. You wouldn't think it adds a lot, but this is a curved like shoulder pad. There's not going to be a gradual stop in the light. It'll be quite slow. I'm not going to do the same on black because the black can be horrendous. But I'm probably going to darken a few more parts, just because I think it's still a bit bright. But yeah, I recommend spending like a few hours on like one piece because it can look really nice. If you want to get it, this is just like I said before. I'm not getting in depth with this with paint. This is just a really simple, basic guide to teach you how to start off. It introduces the black and white painting. It's not going to be too bad. But as you can imagine, you gotta be in the right frame of mood to make it look nice. Maybe put like some kind of like fantasy music in the background or something if you're doing a fantasy one. And this is probably more suited towards fantasy painting. That's what I found it useful for. Because modern day stuff, while there is metallic value there, I think it's easier to actually do it the other way, like an old fashioned paint. But yeah, but once you've got like a quick outline done, maybe a bit too harsh there. No, it does have a nice kind of a shadow to it. Guess that's not too bad. The issue of using a tablet sometimes, it's a nightmare. Okay, so I just pin it down, and then I'll just bring out another kind of a shadow. Just bring it around there. Get back to the smudge tool again. Let's get rid of some of these like few streaks in it. Okay, you really don't want to see them. You want everything to kind of like fade into each other. To look natural at least. I mean, with the colour on, it'll probably look a little bit different. Even this like fairly bad looking one, but I've kind of rushed out for this. So let's just say that's like the basic one. So I can add a new layer above it, and let's say I want a kind of a goldy colour. I don't know, maybe something like that would be quite nice. Go back to my brush and pull that back up to 100%. So you're probably thinking, okay, this is gonna make one hell of a flat colour. like why is it just like ugh, over the top. But what we do is once you get the colour on, you can go down here. Just go down, like sometimes it can look, depending on the style you want, you can have like, like colour burn, colour burn can look quite nice if it's a dark fantasy thing, but normally, I would forget which one it is, yeah, like overlay can look nice, depending on how light it is in the scene you have. My favourite is probably hard light, or vivid light. I kind of work with hard light quite a bit. Keep doing that because I keep pressing to press enter. Vivid light is just quite nice in this one. But if you're not happy with the colour, like I'm not, you can like knock the brightness. Yeah, you can knock the brightness a bit. Just change, like the colour itself can have quite a big impact. So, and then you've got like, the shading and the light, and with the colour on, you can go back and I'll take it back to colour burn, because I think this probably looks the best for how I've styled the painting. Quite harsh and dark. So what you can do is you can go back to your light layer, your value layer, and you can just bring in like some value over underneath the colour, and you can see it kind of like live how much different it looks when you blend it in. It might not improve it much, but you can end up seeing a little bit more of a brightness to it, and it can be easier to paint this way. And I don't recommend this one until you've got the base layer of a value paint first, because I think it's easier to work from the value. So with this, you can just work out where you want to make things lighter or darker. Try to bring down a bit lighter here. It just allows you to be a little bit more precise with the way you want your things to come. I really want this to be quite a lot brighter if it was me doing it. I wanted to show does the value off a little bit more. So, kind of like that, so the sun's bending around. It's kind of like a curve now. You get the shadow from up here. I probably will do a longer one, like maybe a speed paint of this, but the full thing with no commentary, because this is, like I said, just basics. It's to teach you guys, well, just refresh your memory if you know if you like to do it. Or use useful hints, I don't know. Maybe you've done the value but didn't know how to put colour over nicely. Just one of this can help somebody at least. So yeah, it's more or less just having it. Love it. Again, it doesn't look like much in the value paint. It's just when the colour goes on. Like I've never done just a black and white painting and left it black and white. I really don't like keeping it black and white. I mean, it can look nice. I've seen quite a few artists who've done it and made it look absolutely amazing. But like, it's your personal style and preference, really, that matters. You can make anything look good as long as it, if you're devoted to doing it and want it to look nice. So I'll add a bit more light into it. Show off how the tone will be. Always make sure you're on the right layer, because it can get badly. What I like to do is, if I've got the colour layer here, I just end up locking it, so I can't paint on top of it and mess everything up. You can change the amount of undos you can do in Photoshop, but it's quite taxing on your system. Not too much, but probably enough for it to mess your computer up a little bit. And if you're careful, it's fine though. Just gotta be careful of what you're doing. Take your time, and eventually you'll have something that's quite fantasy or futuristic, whichever style you go for. Just like my work comes from the fantasy style side of things. So yeah, this is pretty much all it is. It's relaxing. It's just something fun to do. I think I'll probably leave it here. And I'll probably do a speed paint of the whole thing to show you what the final version will look like. Like when a lot of time gets spent on it, and a lot of work goes into it basically. It's probably like 4 or 5 episodes long, but I'll probably just condense it into a speed paint. Not sure how long it will take to do. I've got quite a lot of things to get done at the same time. Yes, this paint is, color wise, is definitely better for the dark scene. The other layer options are better for certain things, like soft light would look nicer for like a daytime-ish one. But yeah, you can see how it works, like the darker it is, the darker the colors and so forth. It's not a huge thing to get used to. I blend things together a bit now. A bit more of a gradual look. There he goes. Put it like that. That's probably the first book tutorial I've done so far, so don't expect it to be amazing. I mean, yeah, I'll get used to it eventually. I was not really sure what to like. There's not really much to say about this. It's quite straightforward of what has to be done. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll probably do a tutorial of different like paintings, a few speed painting stuff. Maybe some 3D rendering tutorials. I don't know. If there's anything you guys want to learn in like Photoshop or I don't know how to do, just like leave it in the comments or message me in the back end of my channel. I can work on doing that for you. Gives me something to do as well. So yeah, hopefully this helps somebody and you can make really nice looking paintings. If you're using a tablet, it's probably gonna look a lot nicer. So yeah, good luck with your paintings and hopefully I'll see you guys again. Thanks for watching.